Service, roads, lookouts, trails, and open-air memorials will generally remain accessible to visitors. However, parks without accessible areas will be closed. Bill Wade is executive director of the Association of National Park Rangers.
They won't find visitor centers open usually. They won't find custodial maintenance in some places. There will be limited emergency response.
His advice, check online. I'm Julie Walker.
Hurricane Imelda has moved past Bermuda, leaving major power outages and downed trees in her wake, but no injuries. More than 1,700 customers started the day with no power. Schools and government offices do remain closed. More on these stories from townhall.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
There is a saying in playing poker, you cannot play with scared money. In other words, if you're worried about losing your money, you shouldn't be at the table. That fear cripples you to make a call, make a bet, try a bluff. You're afraid of losing. You're better off playing with Legos. Granted, no one likes losing, even if only a small amount. But if you can't afford to lose anything, that is scared money. Chuck Schumer is in that spot. He's playing with scared money in the sense that he's trying to keep the hard left on his side because he's worried about 2028, that AOC or others will come for his head if he doesn't stand up against Trump. Well, he can't bluff Trump. He can't beat him. All he has in his hand is a 2 and a 3. That is what we call a dirty diaper, a 3-year-old with a deuce in the diaper. I know you got it. So Schumer is bluffing mainly to the left, trying to convince them, hey, I'm your guy. I'm your guy. But again, all he has is a dirty diaper.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
The Napoli heritage of fine dining continues with Napoli Kirkwood. Napoli Kirkwood, now open. So add that to Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. And don't forget about Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district, Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, plus now, open Napoli Kirkwood.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday. It's already Thursday, for crying out loud. My goodness gracious. Well, anyway, hi. This is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report. Jamie Allman here, Ashton over there. And just a real quick thing, because somebody will always ask me, why do you have a garden? I'm like, well, here's the thing. I love gardening so much that I was telling somebody the other day, it's kind of like, do you guys like advent calendars? I always liked an advent calendar. There was something about the anticipation of coming downstairs in the morning and opening the little window, right, Ashlyn? It was always so,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, it was always so exciting, you know? And then, of course, they started to have advent calendars that had little gifts in them and things, but I liked it. Just the window was fine with me. And actually, we had the same advent calendar like when I was a kid, like for 4 years. So it wasn't a different advent calendar, but it still was so fun, you know, to come down. That's kind of like it is when you have a garden, because you come out and there's always something new, or even when the plants are small, you know, they're growing. And then when they grow, they're bearing fruit and or whatever, the peppers. And I've already told you about my Carolina Reaper pepper. It's like the size of a friggin' maple tree right now. I finally bought a dehydrator because that's what I'm going to do with them. I don't know. But anyway, so it's always so fun. And then now it's gotten to the point where, you know, I can go outside in the morning. And I do this almost every morning. I go out in the morning and I pick a little basil. I pick a little thyme. I pick a little rosemary, and I already have some tomatoes sitting on my kitchen counter, and I make a sandwich with egg or cheese or whatever it might happen to be, and the tomatoes, and it's unbelievable. It's like a routine. It's like, you know, I'm living a life of leisure, you know. I mean, that's when I'm not having to show a house or do whatever, but it's so much fun. So anyway, that's been my morning. And also, though, I've been boning up on a few things because I always like to do on my show kind of a primer for those of you who are wandering out in the wild. Oh, real quick tip, though, by the way, don't plan on getting onto South 270 today. Don't do it. Do not do it. You're gonna wherever you're going, you're gonna be late. It's gonna be miserable. In St. Louis, you can pretty much get anywhere. You don't have to use the highway anyway. And I don't go near 270 South today. I don't know what the deal is. I think there's some kind of lane closure or something. I mean, my goodness gracious. And I know this is progress and stuff, but everywhere I'm going, everything is closed. The lane closed here. Something's being torn up there. I mean, I'm glad, because I guess it's a sign of progress, right? But my goodness gracious, they're just like, everybody's in the way. It's like nuts, you know? And oftentimes you can't figure out like what they're doing. Like, why is this lane closed? I don't see anything, you know? I'm like, I don't see what they're doing, you know? Anyway, but that's just a traffic tip. It doesn't look like it's too bad once you get up to like Dorset and Page, but believe me, you're going to be in hell by the time you get to about Ladue Road or whatever. So I wouldn't even bother with it. I'm saving you some time. Here's another tip for you. I'll begin with something that we could just blow out of the water very easily. Gavin Newsom is dumb as a stump. And it's going to be fun watching him run for president, because he's going to wind up being humiliated if he's not caught with some chick on the island of Bimini, you know, because he's that kind of guy. He's that kind of guy. Something's going to catch up with his ass. I know that. But anyway, his team put out a picture of President Trump as Marie Antoinette, you know, the let them eat cake lady from France. And so it was Trump's face and a picture of Marie Antoinette. And so that's in reference to the ballroom that is being built. And the insinuation is somehow that Trump is a let them eat cake kind of guy because he's building a ballroom during a shutdown. The problem with that is, and of course, Newsom probably doesn't even know it, is that it's being paid for by private funds. That ballroom is being paid for by private funds. And so it just goes to show you, really, the answer should be from the Trump campaign and everything else is see what can happen when you're not just a government suction device. You can actually build a ballroom even when the government is shut down. You know why? Because it's our friggin' money, not the government's money. See what happens when you're dependent on the government? When the government isn't there, you no longer have anything to depend on. You know what happens when you actually make your own friggin' money instead of steal it from the incomes of hardworking Americans? Yeah, when you're making your own money, you can do whatever you friggin' want to, including building a ballroom during a government shutdown. So I'm hoping that the Trump campaign kind of answers this question about the Marie Antoinette part with another lesson to the left, because that's the thing we always have to do. We always seemingly have to backtrack and teach these morons what common sense is. We always have to backtrack and undo their absolutely addictive idiocy. And it's getting tiresome, but it also can be fun. And this is another thing you can do for fun. Like if you have an idiot relative, like for instance, some of you, because you know what happens, everybody's got that relative or somebody, they'll send like an email or a text with Marie Antoinette, and then that's how you can answer them, right? That's how I just gave you that primer on answering them. Here's another primer on answering the individuals who are claiming that the whole idea that the Democrats are shutting down the government because they want because they want to provide health care for illegal aliens. They will tell you that that is a lie. But it is not a lie. And it is absolutely, totally true. And this has really been pretty interesting because, first of all, this Democrat is on Fox News this morning. This is what she had to say.
I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance market. I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance market.
Yeah, that's interesting because here's then what happened. Because this is why video is so fun to have, because this is coming in from the last Democrat primary for president. And this is how it went down.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Yeah. Every single one of them.
Let me start with you, Mayor Buttigieg. Why?
Every single one of them. Swalwell, Biden, Bernie Sanders. Trying to see who else is in there. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, 9 Democrats running for president. All of them raised their hand and said, absolutely, affirmatively to the question.
These government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, every single one of them. All 9 of them. And that was in the last Democrat primary. So this is a Democrat thing. And here's what you have to remember, though. Because you want to make sure that you get it right in terms of how things work and why it's true and how they hide it and play a shell game. So Chuck Schumer tweets out, "This is a lie. Not a single federal dollar goes to providing health insurance for undocumented immigrants. Not one penny." Schumer, of course, is a liar, and he's playing a word game. Because I'll tell you, this is exactly the way it works. Federal dollars and it was explained on Twitter by Wade Miller. Federal dollars go to a Democrat state for health care, and since money is fungible, they then move state dollars over to fund illegals, which is made possible by federal dollars filling the gap where state dollars should be going. So that's exactly what happened. So it's kind of like, and then J.D. Vance came in with an excellent analogy that you guys can use to explain to your idiot relatives or coworkers or friends or whatever it happens to be how the Democrats are lying about them not wanting these federal dollars to, about them wanting to not wanting to fund these illegal aliens. This is the analogy that J.D. Vance uses, and it's excellent. And this is using an example in New York, government gives billions of dollars to New York for Medicaid that frees up state money in New York that can be spent on illegals. The analogy is thus: it's like if you give a mobster $100, but he promises you he won't spend the money to buy a gun and commit a crime. Well, he takes the $100 you gave him and buys food, and then takes the money he would have spent on food and uses that money to buy the gun instead. This is what money is fungible means. So the Democrats are absolutely lying. I've heard a lot of people basically in the commentariat just basically say he said, she said, and tit for tat, and not address the fact and not prove that the Democrats are lying, because you can prove that the Democrats are lying about this. Instead of just saying, that's not true, you can actually give them receipts and provably say they are lying. That's how that works. And that's the beauty of people like J.D. Vance and other people out there. And that is that instead of just ignoring it or whatever, they address it. And the reason why they address it is so you and me can go out there and bury the left's nose in their lie. And so this is exactly how it works. And you understand that's why Schumer was so specific in his tweet when he said specifically, because he's a lawyer, right? Not a single federal dollar goes to providing health insurance for undocumented immigrants. So when he says that it's a lie, he's purposely saying not a single federal dollar, because that may be true, but it's the federal dollars going into the states that are freeing them up to use their money to fund health care for illegals. That's how it works. It's really not complicated at all. But it's how the game is played. It's exactly how these guys are doing it. So busted and disgusted, and you can no longer be trusted. So looks like there might be a new development in the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory world.
Do I stress you out?
I'm not a huge fan of Candace Owens, but she did come up with something interesting. I'll follow up on that. And Caroline Leavitt just knocks a question trying to shame her Catholicism out of the park. It's all good stuff. This is Common Sense Radio. Happy Thursday, everybody.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Window World, Window World, Window World, Window World. Simply the best for less. The official window of the St. Louis Blues, my friends. And let me tell you something else. It's a window, 314-993-1800, that is double paned, thermally superior to all the rest, will save you on your cooling as well as your heating bills, because these things are tough as nails and they look good. They're pretty. They're beautiful. Don't you love that? That something can be really beautiful and pretty and also tough? Yeah, that's a great, great thing to have for people as well as for windows. Window World, simply the best for less. 314-993-1800. They have the official seal of approval from Good Housekeeping, and they also have a thumbs up from Qualified Remodeler Magazine, which says, you guys are great. You sell more windows than anybody in the world. Yeah, because we're Window World. Financing available as well. Window World, simply the best for less. 314-993-1800, the official window of the St. Louis Blues. Window World, proud sponsors of free, common sense, conservative radio.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Craving the freshest in town? Anthony's Produce is your daily destination for nature's finest. For 28 years, we've been your trusted supplier for everything seasonal. It's homegrown apple season. Choose from many local varieties. Grab some caramel dip or try our made-in-house gourmet caramel apples. Fall decorating? We've got Hardy Mums, corn stalks, straw bales, pumpkins, gourds, Indian corn, and jumbo specialty pumpkins. Perfect for carving or pies. Plus seasoned firewood available for pickup or delivery. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6:30 and Sundays, 8 to 5 on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
It's our debut show, and it's full of great stories. A new season of Saturday Night Live is upon us, and I'll tell you what it was like being at one of their legendary all-night cast parties. Plus, John Waite gets some backstage action with another legendary music star, and comedian Larry Miller talks opening for Frank Sinatra.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on newstalkstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, Apple Music. Let me see what they're doing here. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, it does work. Man, do I despise Apple. I don't like Windows either, so I don't know.
Walk along the river, sweet lullaby.
Computers are so... I mean, they're useful because you need to have them, but they're so gripping and controlling. And then I always think when the computer screws me somehow, I always imagine a face behind it, which is really weird, you know. Like, imagine there's somebody behind it. Laughing. Yeah. Like an Asian laugh, you know. I don't know. My dad one time told me, he said, Jamie, I was getting mad at like a toaster or something. That was one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me. He's like, Jamie, you know, you shouldn't get mad at inanimate objects. And I disagreed with him or something. I had some stupid... I was 17, you know. Well, yeah, I can't. They don't have any... There's nothing to... They don't have a soul or a brain or a heart or anything. So used to getting mad at some piece of equipment. Jim points out, thank you, Jim, for giving what I described as a term for the shell game that is played in funding illegals. And Jim says, what you were talking about earlier is called state Medicaid money laundering. That's a perfect way to kind of nutshell my explanation for that, because it is super true and super important on that level. So I don't know. Maybe it's my problem, my personal problem. I'm not a giant fan of Candace Owens. She gets into a lot of fights that are unnecessary, and she's, they're kind of in that world where they're just as, she and Ben Shapiro go at it or something, and then she makes these accusations, and it becomes one of these really kind of dumb fights, these internet fights with people who are podcasting and doing all kinds of stuff. And so I don't know. And then this whole Charlie Kirk thing became kind of weird because it was just, I don't know. She wasn't invited. She was talking about Charlie Kirk softening his stance on Israel, and she's really not on Israel's side on this whole stuff. So anyway, I just don't really appreciate her. But for what it's worth, Candace Owens has obtained and is now publishing this video of a witness who allegedly saw Charlie Kirk's shooter before he arrived at the university. Saw him meeting with a woman, questioning if she was an accomplice. Now, Owens, she was a close friend of Charlie Kirk's, and she has been skeptical of the police story about Tyler Robinson. And it's interesting how few developments there have been in the Tyler Robinson saga. And I'm trying to figure out why, because I know that Pam Bondi and the rest of the crew at the federal level are within knowledge involved in his case. And so to me, if there was something that wasn't right, I would not, I would imagine they would say something. Even to the point where, people have been questioning why the bullet didn't pass through his neck and all that stuff. And so, but I got to tell you though, the people who are involved in the investigation of this, I don't think have any reason to cover anything up. You've got the FBI and as Amy points out, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. They're not going to cover anything up. And she says, yeah, correctly, they're not going to leave any stone unturned on the assassination of a person who was their friend. So, I just don't know. Now, it might be true though that he had accomplices. I actually believe that he did, and I believe that the FBI, Dan and Kash and others, will uncover a network of people who were fully aware of what was going on. The issue about releasing information about this is you run in danger of the possibility of giving people a heads up that they're being investigated, and you don't want to do that, which is why I'm sure Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and the others are in full mode quiet time at this point. And that's the way investigations should be playing out. They're not going to give us an update or a briefing every day. But just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go ahead and let Candace tell this story that she says her claim, and this is what's annoying about it, because somebody tweeted out her video and they said Candace Owens just said the FBI may be withholding critical evidence about a potential female accomplice who was seen with Charlie Kirk's shooter. And I'm thinking, Candace, What do you mean withholding critical evidence? Are you expecting the authorities to come and give you a briefing every damn day? That's not how police investigations work. And you know, maybe they are withholding evidence, but that's what investigators do. They're withholding evidence. It's like, no, they're doing an investigation. They're just not telling you anything. So that doesn't mean that there's somehow some conspiracy or whatever. When you have suspects, or you have hunches, or you have inklings, or you're on the tail of somebody, or you got somebody who you're following around or doing whatever, you're not going to tell Candace Owens what's going on. So I'll let the video side where it is, but sometimes she's really annoying. And people who claim that because they're not getting daily briefings from Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, that somehow they're hiding information are ridiculous. Grow up, you know? So anyway, I'll let her tell the story though, because she has it, and this is interesting.
His aunt is going to mention that there was a woman who was helping the shooter, and she's not sure whether or not that person was an accomplice. I would say if you're helping the shooter, you were an accomplice, but somehow we all missed this in this actual clip that Shaner had posted and has since been wiped from the internet. Take a listen.
If you time how long it took him to get from that little part over to here, was way longer than it should have been. So I wondered if the girl had given him stuff, like if there is an accomplice. Sorry, you're filming.
And it said right here, that picture from Sam's across the street, he was right here.
So basically what's going on here is there's this insinuation somehow that Robinson couldn't schlep all that stuff that he used by himself, and that might have had somebody helping him with the equipment or whatever. And keep in mind that they said it was a girl, but also keep in mind that his roommate or his paramour or whatever was a transitioning male to female. So you never know. And you never know whether or not that whole post text string where I was like, oh, I did it. Oh no, you did it. I can't believe you. And it was so fake that might be the reason. Who knows?
So you see, she's talking about the shooter, and she says, I was wondering if the girl had given him stuff. And then somebody off camera says, you know, you're filming. And she says, I'm sorry that you're filming, but it's very clear. There's no question at all. In fact, leading into that, which we should have maybe cut that a little bit earlier, they're speaking about how she thought the FBI had it wrong. The timing didn't make sense to her. And that's what she's starting with. The timing doesn't make sense to me because I thought that it took a little longer for him to walk. Let's play that again, Skylar, just so they can.
So anyway, you get the picture here. And then the claims that the FBI had it wrong, again, you know, sometimes, and I'm going to talk to Joe Adams about this because Joe Adams, I've known as a private investigator for a long, long time. And now, of course, he's Colonel Joe Adams with the Washington Guard. He's going to be in. But I think he'll tell you the same thing. Maybe the FBI knows what the timing is and is misdirecting in terms of trying to get somebody trapped or to get somebody comfortable. Because sometimes, you know, you can say things as an investigator that would purposely have somebody take their guard down because they think that you don't know anything or that you know something and it doesn't involve you and whatever. It's like, whew, good, I can just go about my business. And that's when they get you. They give you a mistaken and misguided sense of security and peace so they can get you. So, you know, again, Candace Owens is insinuating, well, we think the FBI got it wrong. It's like, you don't know how they're operating this whole thing. They might have purposely put a timeline out there so that, and they're working on a completely different timeline. I'm just saying, but I'll have that all confirmed by Colonel Joe Adams, the commander of the Great Washington Guard. We got a big event coming up in just 10 days or 9 days. Doug Giles is going to be in for that. So you have to make sure that you get your tickets. This is Common Sense Radio. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
.1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
You know, I had Rick on yesterday to tell us about the wonderful goings-on at the Hideout. And, man, that sunset patio. Because now, you know, it's kind of hot a little bit. But by the time it starts to get to be dusk or whatever, or get to be that sunset time, it's really super comfortable out there. And what a great place to see the sunset. It is beautiful. Right there at the sunset deck at the Hideout, which is 10 minutes south of Gravois and 270 in High Ridge. On top of that, you can enjoy, I'm talking about some of the best bar food on the planet. And Rick kind of put it this way. He called it gourmet bar food. And that doesn't mean it's pricier. That doesn't even necessarily mean it's fancier. It's just better. I mean, their wings are outstanding. Their smash burgers are unbelievable. They've got Dave's Chili all the time there. Their drinks are great. They've got drink specials all the time. The best service you're going to find anywhere in the land, and a great vibe. Music all weekend long. They have lunch and dinner served 7 days a week, and they have these dinners too that you can have that are, if you want something along the lines of a steak, a fish, or a chicken dinner, then they have those. But otherwise, you can bar food it up at the Hideout and just be as satisfied. The Hideout, just 10 minutes south of 270 in Gravois in High Ridge.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience. Locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Man, it's pretty amazing. I got to tell you, when it comes to your retirement, and I'm going to say this again because I've said it before too, that I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is when you retire at 55, you might live to be 85, 30 years of retirement you can enjoy. That's the good news. It's also the bad news if you're not planning correctly. And the Gemini Wealth Group will have you plan correctly, help you do all of that. The GeminiWealthGroup.com or Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123, 314-888-0123. So we talk about diversification, how important that is. When I had Jeff in on the show and we talked about diversification, he was like, well, we do diversification of your portfolio, but we don't do diversification for diversification's sake. We just don't spread it out for fun. We actually have targeted, good, solid investments that are going to give you a return on your dollars and keep that money coming into you on a monthly basis. So that's really super cool and super important. Also, they'll help you plan for your living expenses, like how much you're going to need a month, or your medical expenses, your insurance, your mortgage, your taxes, all those kinds of things they can help you do so that by the time you're pulling the trigger on your retirement for your golden years, you are ready to rock and roll and you've got all the planning you absolutely need. If you are newly retired and some of this stuff does not sound familiar to you, you're with the wrong people. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com. Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123.
Colombo and Company.
Did the government shut down because Chuck Schumer is afraid of AOC? That's what JD Vance thinks. We'll talk about it Thursday, plus Mo Rep Justin Sparks and Dr. Randy Tobler.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Colonel Joe Adams over there of the fabulous, amazing Washington Guard. And we've got a big event coming up on the 11th of October that we need you. We want to see you there. It's going to be great. Doug Giles is going to be there. Jack Jackson. I mean, it's going to be great. If you haven't been to one of these events, the Price of Freedom dinners, you haven't lived. We got auctions, all kinds of great stuff, great people, and we'll talk about that. We'll unwind that in just a few. But I asked Joe. By the way, hi man, how you doing?
How you doing, buddy? Good. 90 miles an hour, but on the 11th, we're going to kick in the nitro.
Yeah, right on. That's going to be so much fun. So I asked Joe because he was out in the green room when I was talking, and I assured you that Colonel Joe would be able to explain everything regarding how investigations work and things like that. I said, "Were you listening?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm on it. I'm all over it." So I knew it. So I'm glad. So what are your thoughts on that and what you just heard there?
Are you talking about that lady that?
Yeah,
she's just getting. That's just publicity for her. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah,
like Patel's going to come. Oh, Candace, let me give you a secret, but you can't see anything. Nah, you got to ignore people like that. In fact, recently, I have personally declared war on the left. I've had it. There's nothing they can say I need to hear. There's nothing I can say to them to convince them of the right thing. No, these people are nuts. They're lunatics, as our president said. I'm done with the left. I told the Washington Guard, disregard them. Don't even strike up a conversation because it gets nowhere.
Are you concerned to some degree? Because, I mean, you guys, I wouldn't call you a target necessarily, but the left has proven itself to be violent. I mean, you talk about how a militia of sorts is even more important than it was even when you started, because of the fact that it can't be denied that the left, they basically have terror cells, Antifa, remnants of Black Lives Matter, lone wolves who are encouraged by them through dog whistling to commit violent acts. I mean, it's all over the place.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that kind of with people like us and what I do, they kind of go around us.
Yeah.
Because they're looking for a soft target, and there's nothing about the Washington Guards as a soft target.
Yeah.
Even my women will teach you a lesson. So
yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why it's so interesting how, they do pick on, churches or boat docks or, whatever it happens to be, but they're not coming. They're not coming to our door. That's for sure.
Not yet.
No.
Yet,
if they do, then, that'll be their wrong place. But you never know. You never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah. And the problem is they're financed.
Yeah.
A lot of these people that's out there drawing the heat are not the politicians. These are hired hit people. Hired hands. That nobody's doing this for free. It's all financed, and it's all but goes back to George Soros's people and how they launder money through these people. And they're organized. I appreciate organizations, and they're organized. But people like me and what we stand for, and the reason I started the Washington Guard, and I didn't want to. I just finished 12 years with Border Patrol, and I just wanted to go home and relax, and you and I go swimming in your swimming pool. But that never happened because Joe Biden got elected. But I was military intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. For 50 some years now. And I'm still connected. We have operations going in two different towns right now. But about 2 months after the election of Joe Biden, I went and talked to my wife, and I said, "Hey, I got a theory. I think they're throwing Joe Biden under the bus. They're going to do multiple selective damage, and Joe Biden's going to be the fall guy." And that's what Joe Biden was, the electro pencil or whatever he's using, right? He's a fall guy. he chances are he had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And you see Trump on TV every day. If Trump doesn't get on TV in 2 days, they think he's been killed.
Yeah, I know.
What a president. And the press loves it. They love him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, even that's why when he is gone for a couple of days, they flip out because they need that constant feeding. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's like they're so parasitic in that way. And yeah, so that's so what you have is, as you talked about with Soros, and that's the worst part of it, is that Soros not only is funding terror, left-wing terror, he's also funding radio stations. He's funding media outlets
right in St. Louis.
Yeah. I mean, and so it's a syndicate. And I'm really hoping that President Trump, and I think he's serious about this, and I think Pam Bondi is too. You have to start viewing these setups through the lens of a RICO case, racketeering, and you got to break these people down from that angle.
You have to. I mean, why are these people in our country? I mean, I say deport all the Democrats. Deport them all. Send them to Guyana. See how they like that.
Yeah.
They see how they like that policies down there. But
yeah,
it's gotten ridiculous. It
Yeah.
really is, and that's why I've had it. We did a change of venue with the Washington Guard, and I've taught for the last 3 years conventional confrontations, conventional warfare, things like that for the community when everything goes to hell, and it will. Now, people don't address the inevitable. The inevitable is, if they think this country is going to continue on the route that it's taken, I got news for you. Now, I spoke to a high up in the White House, and he said, my God, if they manage to kill Donald Trump, baby, it's on.
Yeah.
It is lock and load time. So what we've done, as I announced at the last muster, on this training muster in October, we are actually switching from conventional warfare to guerrilla warfare.
Good.
Because we're outnumbered, outgunned, outpoliticized, and it's time to get dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally with you. And again, yeah, they take out President Trump, and
it's on.
Yeah, it is over.
Yeah.
I no doubt about it. And you guys, Joe and I go way back. We were well, my goodness gracious, when I was at Channel 4 and Joe was in the private investigation time, when it going fobbing between the military, I knew him even then when I was doing great stories with him, because he was fantastic as a source, and that kind of thing. And then we wound up being neighbors. And that was cool. I think one day you drove by or something. You're like, hey, what's up? I'm like, yeah, we were neighbors.
Is that my tank?
No, but he did have a tank.
I still got a tank. Now we have two.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So we, and then I'll never forget this, but during the time of the riots in Ferguson, things were getting pretty heady. And it was starting to go into Clayton and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember Joe taking the lead with the neighborhood,
Well, now they asked me to.
Yeah.
I'm the guy with the big flag, pulling the big flag in the old Crazy Marine at Mosey's own yard.
Yeah.
The same people who wouldn't even honk their horn or wave at me and came to me and said, hey, we got a problem.
Yeah.
I said, well, yeah, you got a problem. I don't. I'm ready. But
Yeah.
We've called every security company in town, called the police department. Everybody's on 12-hour standby, no police, no secondary. And they said, is there any way people in this neighborhood know about you? Is there any way you can help them protect this community? I go, when you want us to start? They go, what? How can you do that?
Yeah.
I've got guys. And we moved in within 6 hours, and we set up, and we didn't have a problem. Now, we did have two encounters, people trying to get in for nefarious reasons, and we just took care of business. But Hampton Park, your subdivision, nice and safe. And also you chipped in too. You're the only one that stood up. When the rest of them were hiding behind the blinds and turning the lights off, you got right out there with us. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, no doubt, man. I remember parking my car at the entrance. And I had these I bought these lights from Menards.
They were pretty fake.
Yeah. But you put them out in front there. And now actually there's a guy who does that now.
Yeah.
But we just put them out right out there in front. And it was interesting how people were just so resistant, and they didn't want to be, perceived as being racist or whatever. It's just so ridiculous, but we did what we had to do,
Right. They were scared.
You were great. Yeah.
We're a community, other than maybe you and I, of doctors and scientists, and especially the attorneys. And and what I did before I left there and moved out to Washington, what I did, I ran a ladies' weapons training in my facility because I had an indoor range in my home.
Yeah,
and so as a gift to say adios, I tried to bring some women in that normally wouldn't even be around a weapon. And by the time I got done with them, they wanted to go down on Washington Avenue and cruise and get on the streets and take a walk. I go, no. Just because you can pack now and use it, we're not looking for trouble. So
yeah, right. I mean, and that's what's great. And because initially, and you know how the left and the media and everybody else characterizes a militia, right?
Oh yeah.
Even though it's almost like it's almost more constitutionally backed than a police department. I'm not trying to downgrade a police department. What I'm saying is it actually is fully on the design of the founding fathers to have organizations like yours.
A true militia. It wasn't for the militia during George Washington. We'd be drinking tea instead of coffee.
Yeah.
So but then people say, well, that was then, this is now. What's the difference?
Yeah.
There is no difference, except the enemy is here now. We're surrounded by the enemy. People want to destroy this country. What was that? What's that big wrestler that's on the 5? What's his name? Tyrus?
Oh, yeah, Tyrus, yeah.
And he summed it up real good yesterday. He said, look, what if Trump didn't want to shut down the government, he should have said, well, I want to shut down the government. That way the Democrats would come back and go, oh, we can't shut down the government.
Right.
Just because whatever he does,
yeah,
they do just the opposite, no matter how bad it is for this country.
Yeah.
I got to, in this healthcare thing about the illegals, yeah, why would you want to pay people to be here illegally? They came here illegally. They came here and are immediately criminals because, oh yeah, but they want a better life. Not all of them.
No,
not all of them. MI13 and the cartel people, we have a big problem in this country. We will go to war in the future, probably sooner than later, inside these borders. And we've got cartel, we got illegals, we got Islamic extremists,
exactly, Chinese,
ATF, ATF, Antifa, not
yeah,
ATF.
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah.
I like ATF. It's okay. No.
Yeah,
but the difference between us is when people came to me and they said, we need to start a militia. And I said, well, first of all, we have to acquire defensive posture. We have to get into a different area. I could not create a militia in Hampton Park. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So I moved to Washington, got some people together, and the first thing I did was go around to the sheriffs in the local community, local surrounding counties, and it started with the Franklin County Sheriff, Sheriff Pilton. And I have a long history as a private investigator in Franklin County.
Well, and they love you guys.
Oh yeah.
And Joe, I got about 30 seconds here, so I'm going to have to ask you if you can hang loose, because I want to talk to you more about our event, because you're getting into the importance of the Washington Guard, and that's what this event is all about, is keeping this Washington Guard the way it is. And as you will hear on the other side here, that the law enforcement folks love these guys. So just so you know, and they become a valuable asset in that area. So Colonel Joe Adams, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you. But we're going to be back. We'll let you know how you can join us at this wonderful event supporting the Washington Guard. It's called the Price of Freedom Dinner, and we'll tell you all about it coming up. This is the Allman Report.
Listen up. The offer St. Louis can't stop talking about being held over by popular demand. Right now, Renewal by Anderson. Buy any window or door, get the next one 50% off. Plus, you might get 0 interest, no payments for 18 months. This is Renewal by Anderson, the full-service window and door replacement division of Anderson. That's a name you've trusted more than 122 years. Our exclusive FiberX frames, 200% stronger than vinyl. And remember, Anderson products increase your home's value by at least 15%. So make sure you take advantage of the offer while it's still being held over. Schedule your complimentary consultation at rbastl.com. 877-WINDOWS. 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson. This is award-winning quality, stronger windows, smarter investment.
When precision matters, trust the experts who live and breathe firearms. Full Circle Reloading and Firearms. Veteran owned and operated by competitive shooters who know what it takes to win. From reloading supplies and accessories to custom rifles and cutting-edge night vision, we've got everything you need. Plus, get precision rifle training from the pros. Full Circle Reloading and Firearms. 923 South 5th Street in St. Charles, or visit FullCircleReloading.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. It's day 2 of a government shutdown that has both political parties blaming the other. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, meanwhile, says the White House is discussing some sizable layoffs in the federal workforce.
We're going to look at agencies that don't align with the administration's values that we feel are a waste of the taxpayer dollar.
Police have reported that 2 people were killed and several others seriously injured in a synagogue attack in northern England. Here's the BBC's Anna Jameson.
Greater Manchester Police received a call from a member of the public to say that he'd witnessed the car being driven towards members of the public. And now there have been reports that a security guard had been attacked with a knife. 7 minutes later, Greater Manchester Police say that shots were fired by the force. One man believed to be the offender has been shot. Now, paramedics are at the scene. 4 members of the public are believed to have been injured.
Greater Manchester Police believe the suspect also died, and they say this was a terrorist attack. It happened, it was targeting Jews on the most holy day on the Jewish calendar. Most Americans, meanwhile, seem to have little confidence in the way that Congress is being run.
Recent AP NORC polling finds that 44% of Americans have hardly any confidence in the way lawmakers on Capitol Hill are handling their jobs. About half of those surveyed had only some confidence, and only 6% said they had a high level of confidence in the people running Congress. And the findings could be worse now, since the poll was taken before the government shutdown.
That is Greg Clugston reporting. Investors seem to be shrugging off the shutdown and its possible impact on the economy. Right now, all the major indexes, once again, in positive territory. The Dow is up about 80 points this hour. The S&P 500 up by 5 points. More of these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Another warm day with partly cloudy skies and a high in the upper 80s. There's a chance, a very low chance, but a chance for a couple of isolated spot showers this afternoon into this evening. Most of us won't see any rain, but an isolated shower is possible today. And again tomorrow, really, even in the morning on Friday. The high in the upper 80s. In fact, will stay warm through the weekend and dry, but better rain chances and cooler temperatures on tap for next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
You and I might have something in common: back pain. I can tell you where I go for help: Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40, 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you, Ashton over there, and ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Joe Adams from the amazing Washington Guard on hand here. There's so much more. I still want to talk about this Price of Freedom dinner, but our conversation gets so fascinating. So off air, we were still kind of talking a little bit about what Joe had said about a civil war. And of course, we're not encouraging one or whatever. This you guys have heard me talking about this before, so it's not that big of a deal. So for all the people who are on the left and listening, calm down. We're not, doing anything yet. So what I'm saying is, though, we talked about it because we mentioned some of these other groups, targeting the left, like the Proud Boys. And I told Joe the story about 3 years ago, or maybe it was 4 years ago. I was in Sacramento at an Ashley Babbitt memorial event with her mother and other people at the Capitol in Sacramento, California, because she's from San Diego, but we were at the Capitol. And the Proud Boys were providing the security there, and there were protesters around there, like a bunch of Antifa punks and all this kind of stuff. And the Proud Boys wanted trouble, like they wanted trouble.
I got to identify with that.
Yeah. I mean, they had the state patrol there, but the Proud Boys were trying to get these people to do something stupid so they could pound them into the ground. I'm not kidding you. So if I'm the left, man, don't think there's not another group of people out there who aren't keeping an eye on you right now.
They would like nothing more than a civil war against the left.
Yeah, I know.
And the Oath Keepers too.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know there was like 5 militias in the state of Missouri. I've never heard of the other ones.
Yeah.
The only thing that separates us from the other militias is the fact that we actually work with the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
And to support first responders. So like after the May tornado came through, well, we went out and we I don't like to say that we cleaned up the trash, but we cleaned up the whole area at Highway 144, so it didn't look like a trash dump, which freed up other workers to go someplace else. And then we raised a barn or two and a building or two with people that's on the list to help, but that's not the government's problem. That's their insurance and their own. So these people can't even go to the grocery store. And so I sent the militia in to raise the buildings.
Right.
And the same people that I talked to who were in shock that they didn't even know what to do because they have no help. By the time we got finished, they were all smiles and thankful. And that's what it's about. We're the only militia in the country that's a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a strong history with the former sheriff, Gary Tilkey. And then I guess he passed the word down on me or I imagine this sheriff was probably there as a deputy when I was working out in Franklin County. But we did some amazing things out here, all working with law enforcement. So I have the credentials. They know about my past. It's not easy to, it's not hard to find. Just go on the internet.
Yeah.
So they told me I have a Wikipedia page. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
So no, he couldn't. All he asked us was, please do background checks on your people. I go, oh, yeah, we're going to do it anyway. He goes, that's the one thing. And then he said it was our forward operations team, which is basically our military branch of the militia, have them qualify up to law enforcement standards and beyond. That way, if somebody ever comes to the sheriff and go, hey, well, those guys, they were in the protest and there's some gunfire. And he said, well, they're as qualified as my police officers.
Yeah.
So I did that just to establish the fact that we're part of the community.
Right on. I love that. And I love the fact that you're part of the Chamber of Commerce too. I mean, that's just a bit. I mean, there's that's just so legit and so great. Right. And also, aside from all that community service, those things that you do, I remember at one point there was a gun show or something out in that area, and you guys did security or kind of did some monitoring of the gun show, because nowadays you never know when somebody's going to try to raid one of these places and take, I'm talking about people who were going to steal the guns or whatever, or trouble, and you guys were there kind of hanging out.
Yeah, we do all the gun. In fact, we do all the gun shows now since then.
Okay.
Yeah, we just neutralize it. Like up in St. Charles gun show, which is notorious. I mean, a guy ran out of the door with 3 AR-15s and the cops didn't even get him.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not going to put up with that.
No, I love that. And then also our discussion. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the event, because I want to talk to you about Charlie Kirk, because you had some things to say about that. So coming up on the 11th October, it's a Saturday, is our big Price of Freedom dinner.
Right. This is number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4. I really didn't even want to do number 1 because I'm busy, but we have to promote. The reason we have the banquet is to show what we do with and communicate with the community. Other militias don't do that.
Yeah.
In fact, they're against all that kind of stuff. I said, well, you're making a big mistake. But they don't have my credentials, and they don't have the people that I have, training people. I got some of the best trainers. So it's just, we're different. Are we a militia? Yeah. And I even talked to you before, and you said, aren't you militia? I go, I am not going to say, oh, we're just a emergency response.
Yeah, right.
No. I'm not playing to political correctness of the media. We are 100% militia, the way it's supposed to operate.
Right on.
We teach bad times are coming. It's inevitable. You have to identify inevitable. And when it comes, men have to be men to take care of their family, their property, their community, and to help this country. And then when the Secret Service came to my house and they said, and there was a problem, do you have this, Colonel? Can you handle this? I go, I got it. And the police that were with them said, thank you. Now we got one less problem to deal with. You got it. And that was Hampton Park during Ferguson.
Yeah. Yep.
They came to my house. The cops were elated. So we do the same thing out here. If the police officers in this area are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. They can't be every place at one time. Well, we extend that. So by the Washington Guard members being prepared to take care of themselves and their families, the police can go someplace else and help someone who actually needs it. We don't need to help.
Yeah.
I mean, I redefine, we don't call 911.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean it.
Yep.
If I call 911, it's already over.
Right. Exactly. I love that. And so in order to you guys need to come out to this, because we've got Doug Giles coming out as the keynote speaker.
Your buddy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Doug's going to bring his books. And Doug is a badass. He's a great guy.
He's a dangerous man.
Yeah, he loves you guys. He's boned up on the Washington Guard, and he loves you guys. And so he's going to be in, and he's tough. He's kind of just another version of a guy like Joe Adams. To tell you the truth, he's just kind of a cool guy, very entertaining. And is Jack Jackson going to be there too?
Yeah,
Colonel Jack Jackson?
Man, the guys. Okay, test pilot. Let's go. Let's try and fly a plane that we're not sure flies. Screw that. My wife says several times I got more balls than brains, but test pilot, that's a different world. I don't know about that. Are you sure this thing's going to fly? Well, we'll see. No. So what a guy.
Yeah. And then so are there some of those other guys that I met for the first time I did the hosting of the event. Oh, I can't remember his name.
My Medal of Honor guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Doc Ballard told me to tell you hi.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't make it.
Oh no kidding.
Yeah, he's actually booked twice that day.
He's
So,
a great guy.
Yeah, and then Sammy Davis. They just
Yeah.
special people, real American treasures.
Right on.
What they went. I mean, Doc Ballard had 8 Purple Hearts.
Yeah,
What
it's unbelievable.
Who has 8 Purple Hearts?
To be in the presence of these guys.
Oh yeah.
Is just really super amazing, and then to be in the presence of everybody else who supports the Washington Guard, and indeed even the people who are in the Washington Guard, it is really truly a great night. It's going to really ground you and inspire you. And
I had a couple call from Wyoming. They're coming in from Montana, and I said, "You're coming again?" She says, "Well, we've timed our visit to our family there around your banquets.
Nice,
because we like what you have to say."
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Then I try and tell them, well, yeah. And they go, was Jamie Allman going to be there? Oh, we're definitely going to be there. So I don't know what. You got a big following, buddy.
I love it, man. That's great. It's always a ton of fun. And we have our moments of seriousness and our moments of levity. And it's just kind of fun to it's a great night. I promise you. And it's in and out, great, like 4 hours or something like that, 3 hours maybe, but it's all filled with really, 5
to 9. But in
5 to 9.
Like I told Deanna in the beginning, I don't like going to these support the first responders and get a piece of fried chicken that was fried 3 days ago.
Yeah.
No. The food.
Oh, it is.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
I said that first. Feed them good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. I'm thinking, man, this is not a rubber chicken banquet here,
No.
It's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm honored to be the MC, and Joe, thank you for inviting me there. So, and Vic was like, "What's going on here?" Sweet guy.
Vic never knows what's going on.
I was just kidding him one day because I walked in because I heard him on the air talking about how what's Allman doing. MCing that I did it last year, whatever. And I teased him in the hallway. I said, "Oh, look, it's Vic Porcelli who introduced Joe Adams to the world." Yeah, I was just teasing.
I was just back there with Jeff. And
were you? Yeah.
And I shook everybody's hand. Nice to see you, Vic. Whatever. And I left.
He's a great guy, and so that was funny. So also off the air, we talked about this because you had a few observations about the Charlie Kirk situation, especially, and now that you mention it, especially about the really unbelievable, almost unforgivable lack of security for this guy.
It sickened me. I've watched everything that's out there that's available at different angles, and the people. When I had a bodyguard service, and I was basically working for the CIA, and protected diplomat. I protected people they were trying to kill.
Yeah.
Not maybe. No, they want them dead. And I never lost a man. There were some assassinations after I left that charge. Years later, they were killed, but not on my detail. But watching, I keep thinking when I see the videos of the assassination on the security, there has to be more than what I'm seeing because it was just terrible. I mean, nobody was glassing. When I say the glassing, they do a strategic location and they glass every grid, every square. And you got 3 or 4 glassers going, covering every square is live footage. None of that. They didn't have a spotter on those roof. If you look from where he was speaking, the only place he could be shot from was those buildings.
Yeah, right.
And so who's out there? No perimeter, nothing. So,
yeah. And, I understand. I mean, I do understand to a certain degree your desire to make something organic, and not be too heavy-handed, but you're getting death threats, and your team knows you're getting death threats. You have people who have stated they want to kill you.
Sure.
And you just in the summer you saw last summer you saw the president, the person Donald Trump get shot at from a building, and I'm just wondering, man, but I just wish people were more protective of him. And even though Charlie probably wanted to be kind of out there and everything else, I think other people should have maybe tried to convince him, hey, we really do need to do this.
And maybe they did try to convince him.
Maybe they did. Yeah.
But I'm not wrong about the security. I mean, I've been doing it for a long, long time in every third world crap hole you could think of. in this planet, and it was just a joke.
Yeah.
It was just a joke. I mean, it's awful. It was just what a waste.
Yeah.
And the social media is what actually pulled the trigger. It was just, and there's 1,000 more like this kid out there floating around, right? Now what it can to someone say like, there was a female involvement. The first thing I thought about, was he a furry? I mean,
right.
come on.
Yeah.
No, it was just an ass clown act with security. I know those guys that lost him feel bad about it. They're looking back and say, maybe we could have, would have, should have, but he didn't do it. And it got him killed. But the social media is pumping these people up with all this crazy stuff, and they believe it.
Yeah.
And the susceptible people in that category on all of these shooting attempts, they're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just nuts. And there's 1,000 more out there, and they're still going to be producing them. They believe this stuff. And it's just not our social media. Some of these foreigners, like China and everything, they're pumping these people too. Just because they speak English doesn't mean they're not Chinese.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I still feel that it's impossible to believe it. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that Charlie Kirk was such a prize, meaning Charlie Kirk was destined to even someday be president of the United States.
Well, I got news for you. They just killed Charlie Kirk, who was going to be the next vice president.
What?
Charlie Kirk was going to be the next vice president.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're probably right, aren't you?
Yeah, I know I'm right.
Wow.
And nobody should have taken him aside and said, okay, this is it. We're going to protect you. Nobody's going to get to you. And they didn't do it. Why?
Yeah.
No. It's just the way he was going, the way he was headed. He was in the Oval Office with Trump over 100 times.
Yeah.
What do they call him? The Trump whisperer. So
yeah.
No.
Well, that's why I think so what you just said was chilling, because I didn't even think about that. And then when you look at it from the standpoint of people just saying, well, it's because they thought he was transphobic. That's such baloney. And it wasn't that. So that's why I also believe that it had to be a larger network of people who were needing to take him out because of the prize factor there.
It's called the left.
Yeah.
They don't get their hands dirty, but they promote it.
Promote
hate. Yeah. So
I'm convinced, and a lot of my listeners are, that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have got this. I think. I mean, I have no doubt there's going to be more people hauled in over this.
I hope so. If they do it right, yeah, there will be. But and also right on top of that, at the same time, I started getting calls. I belong to a think tank, and we meet. Okay, in fact, we've got 2 missions going right now in the different states, but there was some chatter in the intelligence community that the Israelis were pissed off at Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk said what I've said, that the invasion on October the 7th into Israel by Hamas was a staged event, and Israel allowed it to happen. Because if you look at exactly what they did and how they did it and who did it, and my conversation with the former prime minister about the West won't allow us to attack Hamas, the Palestinians, and get rid of them, they're in control of our country. And I go, like, I hate to talk about America, but I go, hey, the hell with that. And I told the prime minister, I said, it's coming. Yes, sir. So if it's coming, why don't you put the time and place and get rid of them people? The West won't let us. Now you add that to the invasion, when the people who live there can see them training through the fence. They're right there.
Yeah.
I see the people who want to kill me and my family. They're right there.
Right across the street from that kibbutz. Yeah.
Why don't we do something about it?
Yeah.
If I have a neighbor that I knew was destined to kill me or hurt my family, scratch him.
So just real quickly, just to reiterate, so you believe, so he would have been, Charlie Kirk would more than likely, almost guaranteed, be J.D. Vance's running mate?
Absolutely. Also, Charlie Kirk knew about the threat from Israel. Israel had said they're not happy with Charlie Kirk because he said the invasion was intentional. And Charlie Kirk has a huge platform. We don't want him preaching that. There were some concerns, even the security knew about a possible threat from the Mossad.
Wow. Well, I mean, I don't know. Really, at this point, anything's possible. But I think the one thing that isn't possible is that it was this one guy. There's just no way. I mean, I'm talking about not shooters. There's no way this person planned this, did everything there, and took care of business and everything. There's just zero possibility of that. So something else is going on. And
something else is always going on.
I know, yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Colonel Joe Adams, and thanks for staying as long as you did. I was riveted by all of our discussion. But more importantly, folks, at this point, go to thewashingtonguard.com. You're going to see the event details right there on your screen, whatever. That's how you can get the tickets and support the Washington Guard.
Or you can go on Patriots at the WashingtonGuard.com and click on tickets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we got a lot of people come from out of state. This is like their fourth trip. They wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
For some reason, some things I say that I like to hear. So I'm pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, your speeches are at these events are really great, man. It is like I'm like they are really great. Yeah.
And about all that health care and stuff they're going to vote on for the illegals. I said, listen, I got the health care program for the illegals. It's under my seat in my truck sitting outside. So thanks for having me.
You're the best, man. That's Colonel Joe Adams. Joe Adams for president, people. See you, buddy. Yeah. That's really interesting about, I mean, that's the first time, maybe you guys, yeah. Is that the first time you guys have heard about Charlie Kirk possibly being in line to be a vice presidential candidate? It totally makes sense, but I don't. It never even occurred to me. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. Young Caroline hands it to a reporter trying to trap her with a question about the Pope. You're going to love this. It's coming up. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Yes, people, Stewie's American Mortgage. Stewie is Stuart Rosenblum, and his son is Jordan. And by the way, gentlemen, happy Yom Kippur. So here's the thing. These guys, this is a family-run operation. And the reason why I mention it's a family-run operation in terms of lending is because as a family-run operation, they're not going to do what the guys in the glass towers are going to do to you, which is bend you over on fees, charge you money for your credit pulls, give you higher interest rates, and nickel and dime you on titling fees and all these other costs associated with closing on a loan. So there are three different loans I want to talk to you about. The buying a home. They can get you pre-approval. I being in real estate, I've gotten pre-approval for my buyers within a half hour. When they were looking at a home, didn't have pre-approval, wanted to make an offer, but you always have to have a pre-approval letter or something. They could do that in like a half hour. That's how fast they are, just filling out some paperwork, doing whatever. On top of that, no titling fees, no credit pull fees, none of that other garbage, and the lowest rates you're going to find anywhere when it comes to buying a home. Same thing applies to your refis. So now's a great time to refinance. Rates are low, and they're going to go lower. But when they go lower after you've refied now, just refi again. It doesn't cost you anything to do it with Stewie's American Mortgage. Just Google the bagel loan. Also, debt consolidation, same thing. You are not going to have any closing costs with the debt consolidation. So these guys live, breathe lending, but they do it with authenticity. They do it with zero closing costs, and they do it quickly for you, effortlessly for you. Stewie's American Mortgage, StewartsAMC.com, or Google the bagel loan and tell them Jamie sent you.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Hey guys, Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. On behalf of Tim Jones and I just want to thank you for making Jeffco Patriot Radio the #1 listened to show on Sundays here on News Talk STL, where we dive into all the things happening in and around Jefferson County. Check Tim Jones and I out on Jeffco Patriot Radio this and every Sunday at high noon here on 1019, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here in Ashton, right there. This, I love this song because it reminds me of like one of my favorite times when I was a kid. Like I was about 15 or so. And I was working at Telena's down on Skinker. And it was like a mile away. I'd walk to work, and I was a busboy at Telena's, and it was a really cool time. It was like really, really fun, and worked there until I was about 16, 17 or whatever. And a couple of years, and I met a lot of great people. Wanted to elevate myself to a waiter because that was going to be cool, but I just I never did because I was too young. And it's weird because all the wait staff, they were all Scientologists. I'm not kidding you. Like people who were former drug addicts and stuff who became Scientologists, and they never once tried to recruit me or anything. I just was like, So I never really worried about that, but I did have a ton of fun. And this song reminds me of the after parties. So Mike Failla, who was the owner of Telena's, he would, after we closed, he would invite all of his friends over. He'd be coming in his fur coat. He is a Goomba, that's for sure. And they would crank. This was like in 1977. And they would like crank. This is when this album came out. This record came out, 78, something like that. And they would crank this Saturday Night Fever album and drink egg shakes or whatever those are called, or beer or what have you, and everybody made pizza. And we'd stay there and serve them until like 3 o'clock in the morning. That was crazy, but made a lot of money. But that was crazy. Every weekend he did that. It was so 70s. That's crazy. All right, one more personal story. So last night, I still don't know what these things were, but I like being out at my pool at night, and I always have my gun with me. I'm not really it's not really about people as it is about animals. So we have coyotes, and one day I'm sitting out there over the summer, and I'll be damned if this damn coyote didn't come wandering onto my pool deck, and I'm sitting there on my computer working on the show and stuff, and I'm thinking, am I going to have to shoot? I don't want to shoot this thing because then it's going to go in the pool and bleed all in the pool, and it's going to be nasty. And I didn't think it was going to bite me, but I'll be darned if it just didn't turn around and walk out. So last night I'm sitting there and minding my own business. I was listening to a little music. And I'm hearing this. I'm like 5 of these animals, something like attacked, looked like a raccoon or something. And then about 3 or 4 of these big ass. I mean, they looked big. I couldn't tell whether they were raccoons or what they were because they looked like they had a lot more fur on. And like 3 of them scampering across the pool deck and into this little, shed or something off to the side. And underneath it or doing whatever and wandering. And I was like, first of all, I don't know what these are that are going, running around like they're about to be attacked. And I also don't know what's attacking them. So at that point, I'm like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go back inside because I'm not sticking around here because I don't know what is out there hunting these raccoons or whatever they are. And I'm not kidding you. They just wandered right past my pool lounger. I mean, it was really, I just was like, it was so surreal. And I realized I didn't have my gun either. For some reason, I didn't bring my backpack out. I didn't have my gun. And so that was going to be a little bit heady. So I didn't do anything. Anyway, that's my pool story. It was kind of late though. I probably shouldn't have been out there because then once it's past like 11 o'clock, it's like wildlife time. You know what I mean? That's when everything, I don't see any wildlife out here. This is interesting. It's like, well, it's because it's 7 o'clock, sir. We don't come out until about 11. That's when you need to be inside. I'm like, yep, I sure do. All right. This was great. So Pope Leo is at it again. He, of course, put himself into this debate on illegal immigration. So, and on top of that, the Pope decides he's going to support pro-abortion Democrat Dick Durbin. So this NBC reporter, because the Pope had suggested those who oppose abortion but support what he called the inhumane treatment of immigrants in the United States are not truly pro-life. So, you know what? First of all, Pope, you can stick it where the sun doesn't shine. And as a Catholic, I don't mind telling you that. But that's a lame, uneducated, and really manipulative comment for you to make to Catholics just because you want to push your political agenda. Mind your own friggin' business, Pope. Because let me tell you something. I'm not impressed. How dare you challenge me on my pro-life stance? How dare you try to guilt me into supporting illegal aliens by claiming that I'm not Catholic enough or pro-life enough? Screw you. And by the way, on top of that, I'll have you know, you may be the Pope, but there is a God, and I'll leave the judging up to God and not you with the fancy slippers, dude. I don't care. So you might be the Pope. First of all, you're not infallible, and secondly, you are a dirty pool player trying to wag your finger at Catholics who support ICE and support closed borders. Shame on you, man. And so I'm trying to figure out what his logic here is, because he's an adolescent in his logic, which doesn't surprise me because these guys grow up in the priesthood and to this thing. They never actually have to live a real life and hardly even work a day in their lives. And they're cloistered and they have stunted maturity. I've been there, done that. I can prove it. So anyway, speaking of stunted maturity, that argument is as lame as can be. So it's interesting. So he says we're not truly pro-life if we are against abortion, but for a closed border. But how does he describe Dick Durbin then? Who's pro-abortion, and Dick Durbin supports true inhumane treatment, which is the allowance of a subculture of trafficked, low-wage individuals who don't even wind up learning English. How do you describe that, Mr. Pope? How do you describe the trafficking of children into this country without parents? How do you describe the trafficking of drug dealers and everybody else into a country where they wind up killing people? This is so stupid. I can't figure out a more adequate word to describe how dumb the Pope sounds when he makes that argument. And don't tell me that I'm not pro-life enough for you. You're not going to be the judge of that anyway. So shut your trap, pound sand, and Caroline Levitt then gets a question from Gabe Gutierrez. And he decides he's going to try to shame Caroline Levitt for her own Catholicism. And I'll play this for you, but it's like, as a lifelong Catholic, how do you feel about that? Kind of like a gotcha question, because the news media, you cannot underestimate the level at which they stomach crawl on the ground. These people. If you don't hate the media, you probably don't hate it enough. And by the way, have you ever heard anybody say that, hey, well, as a lifelong Jewish person, what do you think about this? No, never. But it's always the Catholic question. And Caroline Levitt answers it superbly.
Is set to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Catholic Church. He's since declined accepting it because there has been some controversy. Pope Leo commented on this, and he said that someone who says I'm against abortion, but I'm in agreement with the inhumane treatment of immigrants in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. You've been very open about your Catholic faith. How do you respond to that?
I would reject there is inhumane treatment of illegal immigrants in the United States under this administration. There was, however, significant inhumane treatment of illegal immigrants in the previous administration as they were being trafficked and raped and beaten and in many cases killed over our United States southern border.
Right on.
You also look at the inhumane treatment at the hands of some of these illegal immigrants that took place under the previous administration as well. Laken Riley comes to mind, a beautiful American citizen who was killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant. So this administration is trying to enforce our nation's laws in the most humane way possible, and we're upholding the law, and we're doing that on behalf of the people of our country who live here.
Good. Perfectly put, perfectly stated. And she answered the question, and she's a lot better than I am, because I would have just told the Pope to pound sand and then explained it, but she left the Pope out of it. If I'm the Pope, I'm thinking, hey, why don't you just be a pastor? Why don't you spend your time encouraging people to, go to daily mass? Maybe that's something you should talk about. Or pray the rosary every afternoon or something like that. Instead of running around wagging your finger at people over politics. I knew, after all this love of him, and he's an American, I knew he was going to just go back into the way we've seen in the past with a couple of popes. So there you go. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are.
And we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
1019 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grasser Electric. Love these guys. As I've said, I'm going to have Sean out to the house, and he's going to take care of a few things. I've really got to, my poor daughter, I said, I'm going to fix I'll get somebody out here to fix your light in your bathroom, because there's a little bit of light that's out. I haven't done it for like 2 weeks, and I got to get on this, and I'll call Grasser Electric, grasserelectric.com. Shane Grasser has been a supporter of free, common sense, conservative radio ever since I coined the term common sense radio, which was 20 years ago. Shane has been with me that long, and I love this guy, love this company, and his son. I remember his son. He was a littler guy, and now is helping run the company with Shane. But Shane is kind of handing over the reins to a certain degree to his son, and they just do great work. They do commercial electrical work, and they do obviously residential electrical work. There's no job too big or too small. As you batten down the hatches, as we get into the time where you're going to be spending more time inside, make sure you fix the outlet that jiggles all the time and you can't keep a plug in there. Make sure that light in the kitchen that keeps flickering all the time, you don't know why. Fix that part of it. And why don't you move that outlet too, because you're getting sick of having to drag the iron halfway across the universe to use it. So make it easy on yourself. Grasser Electric will take care of it. For all of your electrical needs, it's Grasser Electric.
You want the best place to watch baseball or any sport and be able to enjoy premium cigars and whiskeys? Lit Cigar Lounge. Lit has so many events each month. You need to constantly check the Lit Cigar Lounge Facebook. You don't want to miss anything. Plus, you can order food from Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, delivered within minutes right to your table. By the way, we're in the season for great patio dining. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta has your table waiting.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Congressman Burgess Owens, the NFL is instituting male cheerleaders this year. Your thoughts?
This is, again, what the NFL is all about. They hate the idea of masculine men and feminine women. They're going to have these guys at some point. These guys are going to be tossed up, and they'll be at the top of the team.
I may join you in boycotting NFL if I ever see that.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hanson's Tree Service. Man, there's Hanson's Tree Service. There's another well-known name that has supported free, common sense, conservative radio for 20 years. Chad Hanson is the lead guy now. The passing of his amazing dad, Jeff, was so tragic, and it just we never forget Jeff Hanson. But Chad has done a wonderful job just making sure that Jeff Hanson's dream of the kind of company that is Hanson's Tree Service is absolutely coming to reality. Chad is an amazing guy. His dad would be so proud of him. Their trimming, whether it be deadwooding and pruning, is off the charts. They've removed a tree for me a while back, and you wouldn't even know they were there unless you just noticed the tree wasn't there. They clean up after themselves. They come out in marked trucks and uniforms and everything else. They have a ton of fun on social media, and they just understand all of your needs. It's fall planting time, right? So we've got the Magic Bean in line. The Magic Bean, it's a composting mixture. Never forget when Jeff told me about it, and I called it the Magic Bean because it really is magic. It'll grow your shrubs. It'll grow your sunflowers. It'll grow your veggies in ways that you have never been able to imagine. It's really great. You can order some. They'll bring it to your house. Fantastic. Same way with all the mulches and things like that. They've got some really great mulch styles. I know springtime is normally when people do a lot of that, but they have that in the event that you want to do some mulching. And of course, the deadwooding and pruning is super important for you because as we're supposed to have just as hard of a winter as we had last time around. And if you've got some compromised trees, especially from last winter, and then we had this summer where it was hotter than the hinges of Hades, those aren't good for your trees, and you don't want them coming down when you are in a situation where we're having blustery weather or beyond. So for all of your tree needs and yard needs, it's Hanson's Tree Service, hansonstree.com.
Columbo and Company.
Did the government shut down because Chuck Schumer is afraid of AOC? That's what JD Vance thinks. We'll talk about it Thursday, plus Mo Rep Justin Sparks and Dr. Randy Tobler.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on Newstalk STL. Janice, you are so sweet to say what you say. It's a real honor for you to say that, because it's what I like to do, and I always feel like it's part of my. Somebody asked me to explain the show, and I said it's real. We could talk music one time and critters at the pool and real consequential issues like the Pope, or all in one fell swoop. It's kind of one of those things. I try to do that. That's the way I live my life, So Janice says, I know this is off topic, but I wanted to say you are so entertaining. I bet your kids just love your storytelling. Lots of animation. Your grandbaby is going to love it. I know. Yeah, well, that's nice. I do, well, the girls are teenagers, so I have a limited window. I got to get everything I'm going to say out in a set amount of time, and then I'm dismissed. So I gotta, teenage girls, so I can move in, do this, and then I gotta dip back out again. So I try to, and sometimes they're like, why are you telling us? Why are you telling me that? I go, because you said hi to me, and so I figured you wanted me to hear another one of my stories. It was fun. Oh. But sometimes it's not so. Sometimes they're very interested in them, and other times it's like, anyway. They turn up the volume of the TV. Oh, so many things to show them and tell them. That's what it's all about, It's always better when I have them by themselves, because then, like when I took Lily out to dinner the other night, I was like, we could talk anyway, or Natalie for that matter. We traveled to the inauguration, or Aiden, or Katie, or Ethan. It's fun. But thank you, Janice, for noticing, and I appreciate that so much. All right, so let me ask you this question about Antifa. Because if you look at Antifa, whenever people talk about Antifa, the left will always say that it's just an idea. There aren't really people who are Antifa. That's just an idea. And yet, for some reason, if it's only an idea, then how come the government leaders, for instance, in Portland, and even the police are trying to protect them? Like, if it's just an idea, why are you protecting certain people? So this reporter, Katie Daviscourt, says that she was hit in the face by a Antifa person by taking her flagpole and swinging it like a baseball bat at her face. She appeared on Jesse Waters' show, and here's how that went.
Police say they're investigating. I guess had spoken to a dialogue officer. I don't even know what that means, but he did nothing. So I don't even know what he's there for. Does it kind of feel like Portland officials, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but have formed some sort of alliance with Antifa?
Oh, absolutely. I would consider them Antifa at this point. Why not? So their whole agenda is to get ICE out of Portland. So they're trying to shield the public from what's going on down on the ground. But I have 4 months worth of video footage showing warlike scenes happening here. And none of that footage is from 2020. But then you have Portland Police Chief Bob Day saying, oh, the videos that you guys are seeing are from 5 years ago. They're absolutely not. We have the evidence to back it up. And how dare he do that? I'm a journalist. I don't really say this often, but Portland Police Chief Bob Day, you need to resign. You need to resign immediately and now, because you are a horrible leader and it's time for you to go.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's taking this whole thing very seriously. And my God, stay safe. You're a very, very brave young reporter.
Yeah. And CNN didn't cover this story. New York Times didn't cover this story, or the Washington Post, because they want to continue on with this lie that Antifa actually doesn't exist and it's only an idea. But again, if it's only an idea, why is the news media, the police, and the Portland government bending over backwards to protect members of Antifa if it's only just an idea? Here's another one, and this is unbelievable. Did you guys see? I hope you saw this on the internet. If not, I'm going to tell you about it. So there's a Gaza-based journalist, and his name is Matsam Dalul, and he is a so-called independent journalist. He put something out on Twitter, and this is how just blatantly fake and inauthentic these people are. Put something out on Twitter. I don't know where Israeli occupation military get these evil ideas. Israeli occupation forces planted small but destructive bombs on rooftops of homes in Gaza's Al-Daraj neighborhood using quadcopter drones. Then they detonated them simultaneously. So he shows this picture of a bunch of fires that are all around, like a bunch of flames popping up all around on a landscape. They're all popping up. It turns out that he was using a picture of a wildfire in Italy. It was actually what happened when these were wildfires on Mount Vesuvius in July of 2017. So he took this picture, and of course it looks like Armageddon, of course, because these wildfires on Mount Vesuvius at that particular time in 2017, they were really bad. And so it's all lies. I mean, and it's incredible how the news media won't correct the record. This guy still didn't correct the record, but he used a picture of a fire. And what's great about this is, let me tell you something. This is why I don't do a lot on Twitter or that kind of thing, but this is why I love these places, because there's so many really smart people out there, so many really observant people out there, which is why you have so many members of the news media not really liking social media and beyond, because they wanted to be the gatekeepers. But can you imagine a world right now if we didn't have Twitter, True Social, or Facebook, where conservatives have really made their mark? It's really great. So it's a different world, and the liars aren't getting away with it. It's fantastic. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Ashwin, thank you so much. And coming up, ladies and gentlemen, it's the great Tony Colombo and Company. Have a great and blessed rest of your day. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention News Talk STL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family on specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636